It is Monday. Raw Mike Richards back on after a week of holidays. Dave off to Winnipeg. I was in the Thousand Lakes. And Russell, actually Russell didn't have any holidays at all. He didn't.
No.
He was continued to work.
Holidays for him, Saturday/Sunday.
Yeah.
That's good enough.
That's how it goes. And I don't know if you know or even recognized or know about this spectacular eclipse that people seem to be almost obsessed about. The sun will disappear behind the moon. Is that how that works?
Is it sun behind the moon, or is it moon?
Something
behind
like
the
that.
sun? Yeah. Okay.
Just normally with darkness, I don't know. I usually refer to it as night, but it will happen in the day. Well, if we were cavemen, I guess something bad would happen. But if you notice, if we just Russell, if you just go back to that third shot, you'll notice. Ooh, look at that. Ooh,
There it is.
There's the look at.
Don't look into it too far.
Yeah, if you've registered as a subscriber on rawmicrichards.com on the YouTube channel, you are seeing the eclipse right now, and with special technology, you can just look at it and it doesn't blind you. You know, people are all getting so caught up in it. Some are getting mad because there are those that are selling these glasses that apparently they don't work.
I'm so surprised.
Yeah,
about that.
are you really that?
So when you're sitting there at Dundas Square and there's Jimmy in the corner with his jean jacket on selling glasses, you mean to tell me those aren't real? Oh, damn it!
Yeah, it's Jimmy.
Hey, you want to? These are special eclipse fucking glasses that come from China, from the Chinese Space Organization.
Oh,
I'll
the
take
China.
3.
Wow, of course. That's
Yeah, they're called Folkleys.
here's yeah, that's right. Andrew, last week just wasn't the same, boys. Great to have you back. Well, it is nice to be back, and I don't know if you've noticed, but these cameras are extra fancy because we have a brand amongst the new sponsors that we're going to talk about, and this will go into the next couple of weeks. So we're pretty pleased with how things have gone. But Dasmo have provided us with these brand new. Are they 1080p cameras?
They're everything.
So
That's what they are.
Yeah. So if it looks better, our friends at Dasmo, they would know.
Dasmo Digital, the #1 company in the world.
Dasmo, a name you should know.
That's good too.
But it's pretty cool. And they're, by the way, these cameras, you wouldn't believe the size of them. So we can actually take these on remotes.
Yeah.
So this is all worked out.
Russell's already
great.
tried to tie them up to his shoes, so he's
Oh, the shoe cam.
the shoe cam.
Well, speaking of that, the Canadian National Exhibition has just started here in Toronto. It is usually the sign of a couple things. Number one, kids, your fun time is almost over. Guys used to line up because the first so many got in free. I don't think they do that
I
anymore.
don't like to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, they used to be, but it is fun. You go to the what do they call it? The food building,
Yes.
and it was known for years because you'd go for like 50 cents, you could eat so much you'd throw up, and then they decided, well, maybe we'll just make up food that will make you throw up. Remember the cronut?
Yes.
Yeah.
The donut and the whatchamacallit?
Hamburger,
And they had-
cheeseburger.
It was a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Yeah. That they had some throwbacks on
Yeah,
that saying,
yeah.
maybe this isn't. A good idea.
Did someone die? Did they die?
I don't know if they died. They got really sick.
I think they just got really sick.
Yeah. See, but the combination of that kind of food and then going on the roller coaster,
Yeah.
not the best idea.
Yeah. So do you think you're going to the doctor and he goes, "Well, what caused this?" I don't know. Well, did you eat anything? Just a cheeseburger that was made out of a donut. Man, I can't see what the problem would be. Of course, there was the all-you-can-eat spaghetti for 50 cents, and then I had about 5,000 Tiny Tom donuts. I don't know what went wrong. I was just having such a lovely day. Speaking of things going wrong, there's lots to talk about when it comes to that, including, I guess, a Japanese guy that, he'll stay off the phone, buddy. Although I don't think his name was Buddy.
It wasn't Buddy?
No.
Buddy's, Buddy's
right,
pretty
George.
popular
Yeah,
out there, though, eh? Hey,
Buddy.
Buddy.
Hey, buddy. So we'll talk about that. Also, the Blue Jays, if you're still a Blue Jay fan hanging on for hopes of making the playoffs, mathematically, you would be correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, mathematically, you're still in there.
And I hope you enjoyed your trip to Chicago because there's a lot of Jays fans there, but a lot of Jays fans did not see victories.
Here's some. Ray says, "Can you guys turn up the volume, please? She seems a tad quiet." Well, not in our headphones, but it's pretty loud on our end. All right. Well, thanks, Ray. Appreciate that. Hopefully, it's probably Russell. See, it's our first day back. Now he's all jealous again, trying to ruin the show. He's probably got carrots in there or something. But the Blue Jays did not have the nicest of times in Chicago. And, for yesterday's game where there are still players, obviously, I'm not saying that they've lost their fight or that there's an issue with a team that feels that they're out of it. Because truly, I think the kinds of guys they have on it don't feel that way. But courtesy of Major League Baseball and Major League Baseball Advanced Media, it came down to extra innings, not the ending that the Blue Jays were hoping for.
Pitch to Avila. A swing and a line drive, base hit right.
Okay, we're going to try that again. We're just back first day back, and
we
already
got Roberto Osuna behind the scenes here, blowing it for us.
Yeah. Do you? Is there any reason we know that this is actually spinning round and round? Because this will be an incredibly long day if this happens. So once again, courtesy of Major League Baseball.
For the pitch to Avila. A swing and a line drive, base hit right field. One run is in. Baez is going to try to score. The throw to the plate. He slides. He scores. He scores. Cubs win. 2-run single, Alex Avila.
So breaking that down, looking at what happened for Osuna, that is crushing.
He's had a terrible second half. That is blown save number 8, if you're keeping track at home. That leads the major leagues, and there seems to be some issues when he takes to the mound. Now, I for one, am the kind of guy that, just like Don Matthews used to say, if my star quarterback throws 8 interceptions, I'm going to give him another chance to throw 9. And that's the case with Osuna. There isn't anybody better than him. And yes, there's going to be people saying right now, what about Ryan Tepera and so forth? And he pitched the inning before and pitched well. And he's had himself a fantastic year. What the Jays have there between a healthy Roberto Osuna and a Ryan Tepera is hopefully a foundation of what the 8 and 9 innings look like in the future. But you're going to get road bumps like this. You're going to get stop signs. He's just having a lot of them in a short amount of time, and a lot of people are jumping on him. Let's not forget what this guy has done since he broke into the majors at age 20, because that's unheard of to begin with.
Crazy. Yeah.
And he's already had Tommy John surgery prior to his 20th birthday. So let's just ease up on Roberto Osuna and the hate that's coming with it, because I, for one, would back him out there once again on Tuesday when they're in Tampa Bay and they start the series with the Rays.
Obviously, the talk of buying and trading, you're past that deadline. But when you're taking a look at the offseason, which is maybe not that far away for the Blue Jays, are we looking at, because it's so tough to be middle ground and only tinker and not tear it down. They're obviously not going to tear it down because you have some significant pieces still, but how many of them are significant in going forward? If you just mentioned 2 of them, are they on your roster going forward if you're building from a place of strength that you believe is strength for the Toronto Blue Jays?
You wish most of your players were at that age, kind of thing, because right now
that's their biggest problem, right?
That is a massive problem, because if you look at the middle of the lineup, let's not kid ourselves. Jose Bautista will not be with the team next year. Josh Donaldson's touching 30. Troy Tulowitzki is past 30. Russell Martin is past 30 and probably feels like 50 at times.
Yeah.
And it's guys like that you're sitting there. Kendrys Morales, the designated hitter that signed on for 2 more years after this year, he's already in his mid-30s as well.
He doesn't seem like a fitness buff to me.
No, he doesn't. He's not really fond of a treadmill. There is some doubt that he's ever rode a bike. So you're going to get that though. But you know what? He's a DH, and he doesn't really have to.
Right.
But nonetheless, the Jays will have to build around your Justin Smoaks, and they better hope this year wasn't just a mirage of things, and you hope that Justin Smoak turns into this from year to year to year. But you know what? I think it's more tinkering than rebuild, just because this management group seems to think that they have invested a lot, which they have. And hopefully hopefully a Devin Travis can come back from injury, and Aaron Sanchez can come back from injury.
And let's talk about that that starting rotation, because to me, as much as they went into the season feeling that they were, I don't know if they want to say their 5 guys were elite, but they sure seem to have a lot of confidence in it. And I guess starting with Marcus Stroman, but it pretty quickly came off the rails. And now, look, it was a horrific start. I'll give you that.
Sure.
But then guys started dropping like flies. They went through a ton of pitchers. If you're looking at 5 starters, do you have 5 starters on this team?
No, you have 3, and then you're kind of figuring things out. You have a good 3. If the 3 are healthy, they're great. I look at Marcus Stroman's probably going to be the opening day starter next year based on how successful this year's been. Aaron Sanchez has to come back from these blister issues, and this has to be something that stays in the past. That's okay at number 2. Number 3, J Happ. I think most teams would take J Happ as their number 3, but after that, you're not sure. Marco Estrada could be back, but he's a free agent. Is Joe Biagini the answer as a starter? Well, this year so far, when he has started, he hasn't been the answer. He's been terrible, actually. So you got to sit there and you go, okay, then what is option 4 and 5? And when you're building a roster at the starting 5, you're not just throwing out 5 pitchers, because at the start of the year, you better have 7 to 8 starters. So if you're looking at it, the Jays are maybe 45% certain at that position.
Well, and quite honestly, I don't think they were certain at the beginning of the year. That's why you took a flyer on Francisco Liriano, and now he's not here.
Yeah,
and good luck, Francisco Liriano, because whoever picks him up, well, we know who picked him up. Every time he goes to the mound, I figure, and this is from a guy who, what's the word again? Oh, yeah, gambles. It's 50-50 for me. You just don't know which guy's showing up. And that's what happens when you get older. If you want to take a chance and pay that money on a guy, that's fine. Just know that it's a flyer. And for the Blue Jays, it didn't work out.
Nope. I'm getting some messages. Dave, can you explain what the Angels are doing right now? You know what? I don't know, but it's awesome.
Well, we talked about this.
I don't know what the hell's going on with the Angels, but man, they're not supposed to be where they are right now. They're not. I'm just telling you the truth. This is,
there's been some little runs by teams. I guess you could probably put what the Twins are trying to create a little magic.
Yep.
You also take a look at Kansas City, who to me, I don't know sometimes how they get this done, but Moustakas.
Yeah.
Which we know what that means in English, right?
That's right. The Greek mustache.
The Greek mustache. That covers a lot of Greeks, I got to tell you.
Oh, tons.
There's a lot of Moustakas out there. But he's going to hit like 30.
Show me a Greek that isn't hairy.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you.
Isn't it like 36 home runs? If he hits that, it's like that's a Kansas City Royal record or something. That's a weird number.
Which is weird considering
It's not a huge number.
No, considering who's been in that organization.
Yeah.
And we're looking at like
I looked at it and said that's got to be wrong.
Well, when you think of George Brett, you think of one of the all-time greatest hitters of ever.
I think of one extra thing when it comes to George Brett, and
I know you do.
Neither of us can really talk about it. We really, really can't.
Hashtag Skydome Hotel.
Hashtag winner right here. Sorry. Terrible story. One of the many reasons that I will not run for any sort of government office. If any of these stories got out, it'd be finished.
But anyway,
Yes,
I'm not expecting the Angels to be there in September. I'm enjoying the ride. It's funny though; they're in contention. They're in a spot for a wild card, and they're only 4 games over 500. So when you think of what the Jays have done between the 8 blown saves, the countless opportunities they had at the beginning of the season, and the horrific start,
terrible
in April.
Yeah,
you mean to tell me the Jays couldn't be 4 games over 500 by now on August the 20th, 21st?
Yeah, something like that.
By the way, Usain Bolt's birthday today. The best ever.
Yeah, the best ever. Except for that last race when you sucked.
So quiet.
Oh, yeah, maybe I'll tell you. I know why now he didn't win. During the World Athletics, what do they call it? The World Athletics Championships?
Yeah, track and field championships.
Yeah, the World Athletics. What, people are doing like
Oh, that's fine.
somersaults and stuff?
I know what you meant.
Maybe Usain Bolt saw this before he ran, because if you see this, you'll wish that you were blind. There it is. A streaker who works out with Kendrys Morales. Actually, kind of looks like the owner of the bar.
Is that Alex?
That's Alex. It was in London.
Nice and moves, too, right? Oh, and he's tackled at the 47.
Yeah. Now, here's what I'm afraid of. Don't put him up. He's now on his back. This naked man, like a bad Tarzan. And now as he gets up, they're like You got to wear something pink. Yeah. And then as he heads towards the crowd does what? They cheer. They love it. Yeah. See, that's good enough. I think, trust me, you don't want to see the next 10 seconds.
You know what? They should have purposely not covered him up. Seriously.
I think,
I mean, I wouldn't want to be one of those
It
security
would have hurt
guards
hot
there.
dog sales, I can tell you that.
It may have, but you look at it and you go, okay, smart guy. No, you want to be an ass? There you go. You can walk out with no coat.
It's been a while. I didn't realize it was a streaker because I haven't seen that. Like that. I mean, when they call it that was the 1970s.
Yeah.
But if you're playing a sport, something happens like that. Like I think anyone who runs on a football field, you're asking for it.
Oh,
you slow down a football game, you go ahead, you take your chances. I have no problem with guys, and there historically have been guys who've really been laid out by some of these guys.
You know, another sport too that I've actually talked to athletes about, wrestling. When fans jump in the ring, wrestlers go a little bit extra harder on those fans.
What's the thinking of you getting into a ring where the guys who are in the ring not only do it for a living, they might be relatively jacked up
and nothing's fake about what they're about to do.
Roided into a place where if you come into their world, they're not pleased. What would that, or, I mean, there's some been beauties in hockey. What was that? Was it Philadelphia? Where was the one that some guy got, why you'd run with boots onto the ice? Number one, that normally only happens, but in the United States. In Canada, we just know really what boot hockey looks like, and it's not that. But there's been a couple where I thought I thought it was Philadelphia, just got blown into oblivion. Before we move on from...
Speaking of wrestling, too. SummerSlam yesterday. Spoiler alert.
Uh-oh.
Brock Lesnar retains the title, and so does Jinder Mahal.
Oh.
Big fan of both moves.
Should you have given that out? Or was it was yesterday that was?
It was yesterday.
Yeah, so if you like that sport and it's taking 24 hours and you don't know.
And trust me, on Twitter, that was like 3 out of the top 5 subjects trending wide. A lot of title changes, too. Bret Hart's niece, Natalya, wins the women's title yesterday.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, she's the Black Heart.
yeah, learning all the way from the dungeon, which they don't live in that house anymore, by the way. It's gone. That's a shame. But about Ric Flair, do we know what his condition is?
Yeah, he's making improvements. His PR staff actually released something on it, saying that he is starting to communicate. He's not out of it yet per se, but he is making the steps towards a recovery. We still don't know exactly what it is, though. I'm sure they'll come up with it eventually. But you have to think heart.
It's just the wrestling world, the wrestling lifestyle for those who lived that, and there's been a bunch of them. I mean, if you're lucky, you're almost lucky if the only thing that happened to you was that your knees went or your back went, or for the most part, these guys, their hearts just can't take what they have done to themselves.
Yeah.
You can paint it all the different ways you want to, but when you have to look that big, if the art of it, and again, that's kind of how I look at that, it is a choreographed comic book like fantasy for guys who are supposed to look like superheroes, some of them villains, but the whole thing is the art of what that looks like. And I think most people who are wrestlers, like people, ask, how can you like that? Or, when people who are wrestling fans, why would you go to that? Because that's the part that's appreciated. I don't think anyone shows up and goes, I can't believe he didn't win.
Coach Frank is like that.
Yeah, does he?
Yeah.
Does he get? Oh, by the way, thanks to
he talks to the TV a lot.
Coach Frank. We had dinner with his lovely wife Nicole and little Christian
awesome.
This past week. That was fantastic. You should have seen the spread. Linda kept going, but is this the main course? No, just keep eating. Look down. Don't talk. Don't say anything.
I heard you guys you downed some bottles of wine too.
Oh yeah, well, I brought like a half a case. When like you're just staying for a night, Yeah. Open it up, let's go. But he was
awesome.
He was talking about, because we saw actually on Twitter a lot of woos, a lot of woos went out there this past weekend. So that was something. Speaking of something, we've got a couple of great catches. Now let's go to Pilar, which when you see the history of Wrigley, you just sort of take a look at the bricks, you take a look at the ivy, but I don't know if I've seen a lot. I've seen a ball lost in there once. I think that's historically happened.
Correct.
But I haven't seen a guy necessarily do this. And for Kevin Pillar, it's just who this guy is. And courtesy of Major League Baseball and Major League Baseball Advanced Media, get a load of this.
And the 3-0. Bryant drives one in the air, deep center field. Back goes Pillar. Still going, still going, still going. And Pillar makes an amazing catch up against the center field fence. Pillar might be hurt as he is running gingerly. What a catch he made up against the vines and the brick wall. He went face first into the wall and somehow held on to that ball. That is a great catch.
Yeah, that is
Nice
that's a
disguise,
beauty.
though,
Yeah.
eh? Put the brick wall. No, put ivy in front of it.
Yeah, it will be safer for the players that way. Well, that's like at Iverwood Stadium, where the concrete, the cement bricks were literally just feet away from where the out of bounds line was. And at some point they put up, like those wrestling mats with the Velcro.
Mm-hmm.
They did that, but only later. To make sure that you didn't hurt yourself, they put on a coat of paint. They put on like a coat of paint. That'll make you feel good.
Oh, big time. That team's run into a couple cement walls this season, eh? Oof.
Well, you see some of the trades. So John Chick now gone to Edmonton,
and there's more happening.
There's some unloading because that is just you got to pick that date where you think they actually can do something and win that game. That you can get some value on that. But right now, I don't know when that is.
You know what the sad part though is, as bad as the season has been for Hamilton, and I hate that they're losing. If they win 3 games, they're back in it.
Yeah, well,
I'm just saying.
I don't think the
that's
East
how
is doing any bragging.
Right?
If you're Winnipeg, and somehow you're going to not finish where you want to in the. I'm saying where you want to finish in the West, and so you get the crossover because they will breeze right through that East.
Yep.
They will breeze right through it.
Yeah. Anybody in the West, I think they're sitting there going, maybe
Anybody
we should be careful of where we. I mean, it's nice having that home. That home game finishing first or second, but
you'll get a pass right to the Grey Cup almost.
Exactly.
Speaking of great catches, here's one that was not in Major League Baseball. Now, I think this is courtesy of who? What do we got this from? Is this from ESPN? Are they the ones who did the coverage? We just want to make sure. Yeah. It is ESPN? Okay. So this is Little League stuff.
This is amazing. This is the catch of the year. And I'm going to add on years to it. I just can't think of some other ones that were as good as this.
Well, here's the other thing, too. I love the sound of the metal bats. I don't know why. The sound of that pink, that's almost my favorite thing. So courtesy of ESPN, watch this young lad prove that he's the next Kevin Pillar.
On a wild pitch is just a really tough way to go home.
Pink.
Regani driven back. He's at the warning track. He goes over the fence. And Regani made the play. Come on now. Unreal.
Yeah, he's getting chicks now. That's all he cares about. That boy Timmy.
And folks, this is as good as you will see at any level of baseball.
Oh, yeah.
That was awesome. So what happened after that, and what they're not showing there is apparently the catch was ruled an out, which clearly it was.
Yes.
So they took away that home run from Chinese Taipei. The manager of Chinese Taipei argued the call, and it was reversed. So it actually counted as a home run. Then the umpire crew, the 4 of them, got together and collectively reversed the call again. So it wasn't out. Bottom line, catch of the year, Chinese Taipei wins 12-1.
If you jump from the field of play and catch that ball before it hits anything, even if you went 5 feet over the wall, that's an out.
That is
to me.
There should have been no reversals or anything like that, but that's what happened, and everything's okay now, right?
You're watching rawmike.richards.com, either on the website, which we hope you go to. All the episodes, by the way, as we've hit episode number 70,
Yep.
which is sort of into episode number 70. Or if you're watching on the dedicated YouTube channel, I suggest subscribing to it. So when the little red bar comes up that says subscribe, just do that, and it goes to you each and every day, so you don't miss an episode. There is a week missing because we took holidays for that week, and so we're back and looking forward to a lot of exciting stuff actually that's coming up, and some announcements we'll make, including our brand new camera sponsor, Dasmo. They have done an outstanding job. You'll probably even notice quality-wise just how much better it is. It is 1080p that it's shot on. It is what we call a 3-shot. And, of course, if you're waiting to see just how good it is, you'll see the eclipse that we are viewing live here from our third shot. There it is right there. Russell, can you point to the eclipse there? Ooh.
There it is.
Eclipse. Who cares?
Stare into it.
Yeah.
Stare into it.
Kids, if you're listening right now, around 2 o'clock this afternoon, just look directly into it like all the other losers. And if your parents are doing it, hate to admit it, this just in, losers. There'll be no eclipse in the pub. I'll be in at about 2:30. It'll be dark all the time and people talking like this. Why is it so? Why are we so fascinated by this? It's like the lead story.
There's a good Simpsons episode about the eclipse where Spock comes up.
Oh yeah. Oh, what do you think about that, George Takei Penn? Oh my! Yeah, this is. We should have invested in these. Oh my!
You would have made millions.
Yeah, I should have made millions. Speaking of baseball and things gone awry, what about things gone potato? Now this is courtesy of ESPN. They did this, the notorious hidden potato trick. Now this goes back to a play in 1987 with the Williamsport Bills. It's still talked about today. Are you familiar with the potato trick?
I'm not.
This is fantastic that a guy, it's minor league. I suggest none of these, I don't know if any of these guys went to the show, but I don't know if they're necessarily getting away with the potato trick. Here it is, courtesy of ESPN. Fantastic.
I had to ask the umpire that I had to go to the dugout to get my other glove. I grabbed my spare glove, made sure I had it closed because the potato was in that, and I went back to the home plate area, went squat right down and called a slider low and away.
He had the potato tucked under his leg in his bare hand and came up and threw a pretty good throw to third base.
He threw a strike. I mean, if I'd have caught the potato, I believe that we would have picked him off. So I short-armed it.
And then I stepped right in front of him before he touched home plate and tagged him with the ball, showed it to him, and then I rolled it on the mound.
No one knows at that precise moment what the heck Dave has done.
The third base umpire went out and retrieved it, and he was from New York, and he goes, "It's a potato."
He threw a potato.
It's a potato.
He said it was a potato.
Outstanding, the potato trick. Have you ever heard of that one?
That's awesome.
That was news to me.
I've heard of the ball in the, ball in the pant trick. You know what I mean?
Oh, the ball in the pants trick, yeah.
Yeah, but not the.
Russell did
potato.
that at Fillmore's last night. Oh, no, that was a
Which-
different trick.
I was gonna say what part of the pant did he put the ball in? That's fine.
Did you have did you have a good, why this week, Russell? Did you do anything exciting? Because I'll be honest, no one ever saw the pictures of this Montreal Music Festival. It's still,
I'm not even sure if you won.
Yeah, I don't know if you did. How come there's no pictures?
I just didn't take that many. I have a couple on my phone. Maybe we can put them up tomorrow if I send them to myself, but there's not many of the festival.
Liar. Liar.
Phone numbers?
No.
Okay, I believe that.
Okay, well, 1 out of 3. Oh, yeah, Mike stayed at the Hotel Dun de la Soie. Sure, did you? The Dun de la Soie? It's a nice hotel. What else are we going to take a look at? By the way, the CFL, they came out and they got a lot of headlines with their diversity is strength. Now, a lot of people are going to look at that, and I think most people did, and say, what a awesome idea. That was really excellent that you did that. You saw the coaches wear the T-shirts during the game, and they even went as far as going to make a commercial about it, a full 30-second commercial about diversity strength, and once again, courtesy of TSN.
We are a league as diverse as a country, A league of Jacksons and Kwongs, Elimimians and Messams, Moscas, Custuses, Sinopolis, Shigers, and Burrises. A league of Reeds, Reiches, O'Sheas, and Owusu-Ansas. A league where what makes each of us different makes all of us stronger.
My only question is, if they had done something like this, that is the league itself, before the season started, or at any other point, no one's going to fight with, what the CFL has stood for, and no one is going to say, in this day and age, that truly there is a lot of strength in embracing your diversity. Our entire country has been built on that notion. There is a reason why I think around the world Canadians have an excellent reputation, and I think that reputation comes from the kindness, the openness that our country has always represented, the fact that when we're needed, we're usually first in line or pretty close to it. And there's a humility and a humbleness about being Canadian. The only thing that makes me feel a little uncomfortable, in light of the disaster that Charlottesville was with the KKK and the racist Confederate parade where it got so ugly, and of course then Donald Trump didn't say, probably what most of the country wanted him to say, or in the way in which they wanted him to say it. So you pick that moment to say, look at us.
Bingo.
Don't you think, Dave, that made me, as a Canadian, I just thought, and even as a league, it just seemed to be a lot of patting on the back, a lot of self-promotion at a time when our neighbors are really struggling south of the border, and they truly are. I mean, almost every day there's something. There's going to be another national broadcast where President Trump is going to talk about the war on Afghanistan and their strategies in terms of the military. But we're bombarded daily with what seem to be gaffes and a president that I don't know how long that term is actually going to last. And we understand that, but I don't know if that's the time where you sit there and start throwing up a real obvious, yes, but look at us at that very time. Because I'll tell you what, if something unfortunate happened in this country that didn't make us look particularly good, what if the Americans came up with some sort of slogan,
Bingo.
well, that doesn't go on here, because I think it can work both ways, and that's what I felt about it.
Yeah, you know what? Because I'm for the message. I think the message is fantastic.
Absolutely.
It's a great campaign. It's a great commercial. It really is. But the timing of it really sucks. It does. I'm sorry. You don't. I mean, an American audience, and I know we have a lot of Americans watching our show right now. With what is going down throughout the country, not just in Charlottesville.
Charlottesville, yeah.
But it's almost like you maybe rubbing a little bit of salt in the wound, so to speak.
I think that's how it came across to me, Dave. I would agree to that. And again, it's not about the message not being good or the campaign not being worthy. It's all those things. It's the timing of when you do it. And as you said, rubbing salt in the wound is like at that very moment. I don't know, again, if necessarily that reflects a country that is based on humility and being humble, because even if you had waited a little bit, but people probably say, well, that's the reason they did that promotion, was to show who we are. I still think that you've got to look at it. If it were to be the other way around,
yeah,
and a U.S. league said, wow, here we don't throw beer. Here, come to the United States where we don't throw beer on babies at baseball games. We're beer free. We don't throw beer on babies.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Oh, yeah. We cheer for the people, but only some of them, because others aren't as good, and we won't say who they are, but beers. No beers on the babies.
It's pretty good. I think you got something there.
This is Ray Charles. That's Ray Charles. We don't throw beer on babies. We don't throw beer on the babies.
No, that's more Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah, I know that one was.
More
Yeah.
Springsteen.
Don't throw beers on the babies. Oh. I just, I get it. It's just, love the league, love the message.
Yep.
Yeah, not big on.
I mean, week 8 of a CFL season, you decide to roll out this campaign.
Yeah.
Preseason. what were you doing?
Yeah.
Off season.
If
What were you doing?
If it really was that embraced, then I guess maybe you would have started with it. You're watching and listening to Raw Mike Richards on rawmikeRichards.com. It could be the dedicated YouTube channel, and of course, podcasting. If you're listening and downloaded the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, and I think I may have figured out, I should mention this too, TuneIn. Because I believe that we put it in the wrong.
Are we getting close?
Yeah, I think we put it in the wrong category, and I looked at it over the week, and I said, you know what? We need to stream live. So when you're in your car, especially for those of you in Western Canada who wouldn't mind just, if you want to use a little bandwidth, click us on in your car, and at 8 o'clock in the morning in Calgary, we'll be live.
See, it's funny. Just not to wrap up, or kind of to wrap up what you were saying about diversity. Louis Malone, American, who listens to the show religiously, and thank you. Is it Louis or Louis, by the way? Because it's spelt Louis, as in St. Louis, but
yeah, it could be either way. Could be either way.
Write me right now. He writes, I didn't find anything wrong with it. The campaign.
Interesting.
That is interesting. Yeah. And he says Trump let these people out of the box, and now they won't go into the box. They won't. By the way, we're getting some highs from California. So
Cali.
we're all over.
Oh,
we're
yeah.
all over. I know.
By the way, if some of the remotes that we're working on and getting a little bit closer, the opening of Little Caesars was high on our list, and I think it's getting a little bit closer where we would like to do the remote that's going to be, I think, October, I believe, the opening date of the brand new Red Wings building. I'm a little sad to see the Joe go. Yep. I'll admit. I mean, a classic hockey barn, which I think technically, at least to my mind, and you'll know more than this, is that the last one? Like the actual rink barn? I mean, the curtains that close over, because I don't think anyone's done that. I'm trying to think. Even of the older buildings, I don't think.
In the National Hockey League.
In the National Hockey League.
It might be. I'm just trying to, because Calgary, it's funny to hear this, but Calgary's deemed an old building.
So it would be the oldest, yeah. But even still, it's not like the Joe. I mean, it still has, it's one of the older ones. It might be the oldest one. Maybe it's the oldest one left.
The cool part is if the Islanders go back to Nassau Coliseum, they'll be back in that building.
Oh my God!
I'm not saying
that's like a baseball team moving away from Tampa and getting out of the Trop and then having to go back like 5 years later. That's like being sent back to prison. And I'll tell you, the Nassau Coliseum when it came out was like the eighth wonder of the world. We'd never really seen structures that looked like that. And then almost immediately afterwards, versions of that, every building kind of looked the same. The giant sort of oval, then you had there was a time where, private boxes just wasn't part of the, the description or the lexicon of what we saw in professional sport. Now it is.
Yep.
If you don't have enough of those. It's just like the first football stadium in Dallas. That Dallas stadium, when they came out in Sports Illustrated. I remember to this day seeing Sports Illustrated. And I'm like, they're putting couches and TVs and places to drink in the stadium? I said, oh, yeah, they'll do it, but no one else is going to do that.
By the way, and this isn't fair because, we'll get into it right away. Oldest building in the National Hockey League is Madison Square Gardens, 1968. But they have gutted that
50 times it's been done over, including the last one that just finished up last year.
Exactly. They've spent billions with a B in that facility, so I don't think that's fair to say that. But that technically is the oldest building in the National Hockey League. Right?
Yeah, the Joe might have put in new light bulbs at some point. They probably went from
I don't know if they spent that much.
Paper towel dispensers to like the blow dryer thing, a hand dryer.
By the way, Saddle Dome, 1983. That is the next one.
Yeah, so that's the next one. I know they desperately would like another one. I'm sorry.
And they will get one.
Yeah, they'll get one.
They better put it in the right spot too. Don't
I think they wanted to kind of move it just up from where they are now. At least that's what I was told, and what the area is called, like Victoria Park, actually.
Yeah.
And, so it's on sort of the just north of where the Stampede grounds are. That's what I understood it to be. But
most of the buildings made in the 90s too. So and of course in the 2000s there's been a lot of new buildings.
What's the best one to go to? If someone said I want to go, no, let's leave Vegas out of it because Las Vegas is going to be a freak show. And by the way, Shane Knighty, as many of you saw, and we were going to get him on the show. Well, he's in the midst of doing all kinds of stuff to get down there, including changing phone numbers and a whole bunch of stuff. So he apologized. He was going to come on this week, but he's going to join us probably the first week of September.
Yes.
Yeah, there's going to be There's going to be a bunch of people in that first week of September because that's kind of what we're kicking off when you see a lot of the new features, aside from the, couldn't help it, but today, our good friends at Dasmo, who are a brand new sponsors for camera work, which is why you're seeing the quality that you are right now. That, and of course, the eclipse that we have managed to capture.
It's fantastic.
Once again, Russell, don't get too close to it. Put your hands close to the eclipse, but don't. Oh,
jeez, you're living on the edge.
Eclipse.
Best building in the National Hockey League. I've seen every building except 3. And those 3, the one I might be the best building, the United Center in Chicago, I haven't been to.
Gorgeous. Yep, it's fun.
Pepsi Center in Colorado, I haven't been to. And the one in Nashville, I haven't been to. But the best one for ambiance and just crowd appeal, San Jose is outstanding. And I would never expect that. Montreal is up there.
Montreal's Montreal because it's kind of like royalty.
Yeah, Staples Center in Los Angeles, fantastic facility.
What about the new Rexall? Is it the Rexall in Edmonton?
Oh, I haven't been to that one either. I guess that's 4.
Because that
just opened.
I hear
last
that
year.
thing is pretty unbelievable.
Yeah, and when you look at what they're doing with the hockey arenas, they're not quite at the football thing because we saw what the Atlanta Falcons have going on there, which is tremendous.
Oh, that's crazy.
And then not this year, but the year after, what they're doing in Los Angeles might set the standard in the world.
Well, I think that's the goal. That is the goal. By the way, in the new building in Edmonton, it's really I've never seen this before. There's a sign: no mullet, no ticket.
Really?
Yeah. So they're really they're really clamping down on that. And if you look like Billy Ray Cyrus, well, you and about 15,000 other people in that building. The week that we were off, there also was a couple of non-sport things that people get kind of serious about. Elvis passing away. There was another anniversary this past
number 40.
40th anniversary.
Yeah.
Here's something that's really strange too. I just came across this. This is going to be this is June of that year. So he basically has less than 2 months to live after you see what is a really awkward backstage moment. But you know what? In that time, just because of my age, wasn't really recognizing who Elvis was at that point. To me, he was the ain't nothing but a hound dog, probably the 115-pound Elvis Presley, not the 315-pound Elvis Presley. So I don't really remember the big bloated guy. But this is a little sad in the weirdness of the backstage conversation with this little girl who's supposed to be from an Indian reservation or something. It gets very odd, but he looks just terrible. And when you realize that he only has literally probably about 45 days to live or in there somewhere, it's not that surprising. This, by the way, courtesy of a site called Elvis World. Is she pretty? Is she a pretty girl? Oh, isn't she pretty? Look at the hair on that guy. Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Could I get a sandwich or something? Look at him. Wow. Okay, isn't she pretty? And then I want to see what he does. Now look how close he is. Oh, it's lovely. And okay, that's enough of that. That's enough of that. I don't know. So, how old a girl would you be? It's just getting gross. I don't know. It's I don't think if that was Marissa, you wouldn't like that interview.
No,
I'm just saying.
I don't think Elvis would do that to Marissa.
Oh, he'd do it to Irene.
Irene took me to Graceland.
Okay. In all seriousness,
that was amazing.
That is I don't know if you'd say bucket list. But I ended up there just because some of the guys I was with, they said, we got to go see it. I'm like, I don't want
No, it's amazing.
It is amazing.
It is amazing.
It is amazing.
Best Elvis story when I was there, too, because on the compound you have his 3 jets. which is always nice when you have jets on the compound.
TBC, baby. TBC.
And one of them, his favorite plane was
Yeah.
the Lisa Marie.
Right.
So the tour guide that was, because we were on a special tour of the facility, and you can spend a week there. We spent an entire day there. Said that Elvis loved peanut butter sandwiches so much that one day it was in the middle of the night.
Now, did you have the thing like when we walked around
Yes.
so long ago that it was the cassette tapes
Both.
with the headphones?
Both. We had both. We
Okay.
had the live and the thing. So
Okay.
the lady said one night Elvis was hankering for a peanut
Yeah.
butter jam sandwich.
Because it was open 24 hours a day. This kitchen.
Yes, it was. But he didn't want it from this kitchen. He wanted it from a famous chef in Colorado.
Oh God.
And he got into his plane. He never drove. He never, drove the plane, but he got into the plane, and they went to Denver. They met him on the airport and handed him his peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and went back and.
From Memphis. Memphis to.
yes.
Oh, there's all kinds of weird stuff. There's a book, by the way, if you want to see and experience sort of the weirdness. It's called Elvis and
Me.
Elvis and Me.
Yeah, about his bodyguards.
Yeah.
Spilling the beans.
Red, and some of the other one they did. And you know what?
I don't like that aspect of people doing that.
But the book came out just after they said if Elvis sees this book, he's gonna freak, and he dies before the book comes out. And
Yeah.
they're kind of glad a little bit.
See,
They
like-
were ostracized anyways,
See, like if we pass away today and Russell writes a book at us,
which he will.
which you will,
Which he will.
I
don't trust him for 1 second.
I'm gonna haunt him.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
You're gonna haunt him.
Yeah, I'm gonna haunt him. I'm gonna come back in my spirit form and make him pay for writing that stuff.
Yeah, but if you can do that, then you can see everything he does, including the stuff he does in his room when he's alone. I don't think you want to haunt. I would suggest don't do that.
Thanks for the warning.
He has this so Graceland is the mansion. The kitchen's open 24 hours. And at one point, whoever his famous old cook was, she comes up with this recipe for meatloaf. Now, when you figure what your favorite thing is that you can eat, how many days seriously? Okay, Russell, I'm going to start with you. Whatever you think your favorite thing would be, anything you've eaten in the last little while, and we went to a bunch of good restaurants in Calgary too, but how many nights in a row do you think you could eat the same thing? How many nights in a row? Just think about it now, those listening, those watching. Seriously, how many days in a row can you eat the same thing?
I'd say 3 max.
Oh, come on. You could eat more than 3 max.
Of your favorite
okay,
thing.
what's your favorite thing? Because I have a lot of favorite things.
I have a favorite thing.
I really love chicken parm.
Okay, chicken parm. You can only go 3 days.
3
We're
days.
not talking about every single meal. You're talking about like
The dinner.
the
Just
dinner.
for dinner?
Just for dinner.
You can do more than 3.
3 or 4.
Oh,
Yeah.
come on.
See, I love lobster. Lobster's
Yes.
one of my favorite things.
Okay.
I think I can do a week.
Okay, I like any kind of
But
combo.
remember, it has to be done the same way. It's not like you're taking the one thing and doing it different ways.
No.
You get one dish.
I could probably do like either a ribs or a steak.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, ribs.
I could probably do it for 2 weeks.
You could do 2 weeks?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Now, would that be healthy to me to do red meat 2 straight? No, it
No,
wouldn't.
we're talking Elvis, so
Yeah, but I could.
healthy
that's
has nothing to do with this
that's how good-
conversation.
Just like I could do Papa John's pizza probably for at least a week.
Well, at least a week.
At least a week. Johnny's Hamburgers. Toronto
That's when you're in
Habs fan.
Toronto,
I could do this every day the rest of my life.
Yeah. It's just like that guy.
No, you couldn't.
The guy
No, you couldn't.
The
Don't
guy
lie.
who did that McDonald's thing and he ate every day for a
Yes.
year and he almost died.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're not supposed to eat. Come on. I mean, every day. Okay, so Elvis, this meatloaf recipe, every day for 6 months.
Holy smokes. Wow.
Because Priscilla's doing the voiceover. She goes, Elvis enjoyed it so much he ate it every day for 6 months. I was like, of course he did. Coming from the same guy, and this is what he had a certain routine. Don't pop in on Elvis. Don't do the pop in. He needs to know when you're coming.
Yep.
The reason why, he'd dress up in the kung fu, like the karate outfit,
Yes.
and it'd be like, bing bong, here we go. Everyone comes in. Elvis comes down to the main foyer at the top of the stairs.
Yep. And it's right there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, because he had to do his moves. As she said, his kung fu moves.
And if you're a guest of Elvis, you no matter how stupid you think that is,
Yeah.
you're excited
Yeah,
about it,
yeah.
and you applaud what he's doing.
How How legitimate was that black belt? I got to be honest. I got a bad feeling about that one. So there's a little flashback for you. What else were we going to jam in today? Oh, by the way, now did we find the Jim Cuddy? Him singing Bob Cage, and we'll go to that in a couple of minutes here. The reason I bring that up is our good friend John Derringer, Morning Guy Q107, long time, actually Toronto fixture is really what young Johnny is. And he had mentioned on Twitter today that it was a year ago that the concert in Kingston took place with the Tragically Hip. And, and all the things that we talk about, things historically, we just talked about what it means to be Canadian. I'm hard-pressed to think at some point that concert doesn't become a part of Canadian fabric. Now, when he sang on our show. This is the one we're looking for, right? Lovely faces. Yeah, not he's done it before, but we're looking for the one that he did on our show. That concert, amongst many other things, was a part of our history, more than just a band, more than just a night with the Rolling Stones or anything Rush would do, which of course I would watch. But I don't think, and again, it's not the full interview. This is just, Jim Cuddy does Bob Cage, and he did it on our show, about our first 30 days in there somewhere, pretty close to it. And I asked him, would you mind doing it, simply because he has a great story behind why he's going to play the song.
Night is that, we had our plan, and then those guys had to go spoil it by having their big historic night. But there was a lot of people at our show, and we were very cognizant of the fact that people are thinking about the Hip Show. Either they're taping it or they're wondering, they want to be where they are, and that's great. But we put them up on our screen, and they had just, it was just coincidental, we didn't know this, but they had just finished doing Bob Cajun. And then, so Gord's just walking around, and then we start playing Bob Cajun. He's just on our screens walking around, and it was a great release for our audience, because they felt like, okay, they hadn't missed the whole thing. They hadn't missed the, maybe they're going to see it on tape release, but they hadn't missed the actual event. And so it was a big moment for all of us. I mean, we've been close to that band from the very beginning, and so it was necessary for us to acknowledge that big night.
Could you play a little bit of that for us? Is that possible? Because I know some of the people here in the audience, Jim Cuddy here with us on rawmikeRichards.com, and Bob Cajun, Tragically Hip.
When I left your house this morning, was a little after 9. Could have been the Willie Nelson, well, it could have been the wine. When I left your house this morning, at a little after 9, that was in Bob Cajun, where we saw the constellations reveal themselves one star at a time.
That's fantastic. That is, wow. Are you kidding me?
That's a beautiful song.
It is.
That's a beautiful song. I always said to, well, not necessarily to Gord, but to his brother, I said, the timeline in that really gets me. He's going out at 9:15 in the morning, but he's seeing the constellations. And then as I learned the song, I realized, no, he's flashing around. He's flashing back. But I remember his brother go, I don't know, ask Gord.
Yeah, that was, we were just so pleased to have Jim in studio. And, of course, we're going to do more of that as we broaden the show, Dave. This is episode number 70, and we continue to sort of add bit by bit. As you can tell, once again, today, we've got the brand new, incredible 1080p cameras from Dasmo. They've come on as sponsors. And
Dasmo Digital.
Dasmo Digital. And so we're thrilled with what they've done for us here today. And there'll be more of that. And, again, trying to get some of the cool people into the studio, which is the reason why we chose this location. I mean, sometimes ask, and those that still don't know we're doing this, they're like, so where do you do it, in your house? No, this is not a, a basement or a bedroom podcast. This is a full-on studio, and that's why you've got the backing that we do. Our good friends at Eggplant Pictures are fully into this, and we're now going to become part of a network that we have started, and we'll talk about that probably in the next week as well. So as we continue to grow, we're doing it because people like yourself continue to not only watch, but hopefully tell others. I mean, the sharing, the retweeting of what this is, and of course we'll become more involved on social media to get the word out that this is the show that you either want to download and of course watch at your own convenience. The beauty obviously of doing something like this is, we go live every day from 10 a.m. Eastern to whenever, but you watch it when you want to watch it. I mean, if you want to watch it live, if you can, that's fantastic. And some people saying, well, at work they don't really like it when I'm blasting your show, especially when you say certain words.
Like what?
Well, I don't know. But save it for later then. Just save it for later. So once again, we're pretty pleased the way that things are going as we move forward. One thing that I didn't get to, we saw a great catch in Little League. That was was from Pennsylvania, wherever he was from. But you don't expect to see Little League when you watch Big League. And I got to be honest, looking yesterday at what was happening with the Houston Astros, and this is the only thing, Dave, I would say about what's going on in Major League Baseball, I'm a little unsure when you're so far ahead of the pack like the Houston Astros have been almost since, the first month of Major League Baseball, if you lose contact with the importance of each and every game, how engaged you are, once you get to the playoffs where everything is now on the line and it's a brand new season, this is where teams like historically, I don't know, the Minnesota Twins have made big runs. The Kansas City Royals of late, and maybe they're going to do it again. They're the kind of teams that if I'm Houston, as good as my season has been, looking at the clip I'm going to show in a couple of seconds here, Dave.
Yep.
I don't know if necessarily this has been a good thing for them to be where they are.
Well, it's definitely a take the foot off the gas sort of last couple of weeks, and it's better not continue into September for them too. So you have to, it's almost like, and this happens in a lot of sports, Mike. If you catch lightning in the bottle at the right time, that's the best time to do it. And we're talking about September here, so yeah. I'm not going to throw the out flag on the Houston Astros just yet, but things better improve because they've already made their postseason. But I want them to start playing a hell of a lot better than what they're doing right now if they're going to do anything in the postseason.
They were playing the A's yesterday. The guys, what was it, Driscoll was on the mound. He's like, I don't know, his record's unbelievable.
It's a AAA team, the Oakland A's.
And, the AAA team or the minor league team or the Little League team, when you get home runs in Little League, it kind of looks like this. And courtesy of Major League Baseball and Major League Baseball Advanced Media, this is Big League doing Little League.
Good lead. Simeon hits it in the hole. Backhanded by Bregman. And the throw goes into right field. Powell gets up. He's going to go to third. In fact, Powell is now going to try to score. The throw to the plate is late. It's cut off. The throw to third goes down the left field line. Simeon's going to come in to score. And in most places, we call that a Little League home run.
That's right. Well, fortunately, the first error occurred. That prevented a possibility of a double play.
Terrific throw.
Talk about some great offense in the first inning. How about that? Steve Scarsone, as Powell stopped at third,
cut off.
Scarsone said, let's go. Because he could see where the ball ended up, and that was Reddick going to get the ball. So he scored the throw to the plate.
That's unbelievable.
Actually cut off by the first baseman, then a bad throw to third. And here comes Marcus Semien.
I don't know if I've seen that before. Obviously in the park. We showed an in the park home run, I think a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
But nothing like that.
No.
And that's just focus, Dave. That's just lack of concentration.
It really is. They're 5-5 in the last 10 games, which isn't bad. But if you're a first-place team that still wants to maintain that home field throughout the postseason, you got to play a little bit better than that. And when you play teams like the Oakland A's, and you're at home, you're home to the Oakland A's, where the A's have just strung out a roster that's just kind of embarrassing, to tell you the honest truth, and you still end up losing 3-2 to them. I realize there's a couple key players on the Astros disabled list, and they'll be coming back soon, or at least that's the hope. But even with an A1 an 8-2 type of Astros roster, there shouldn't be any competition between these two teams.
Well, just so you know, I suppose you're supposed to be careful today. Russell, I know we have an image of what everyone has been talking about.
Mm-hmm.
The solar eclipse. Is it a solar eclipse or just eclipse? I don't know. I'm not a nerd. I have no idea. But if you be careful when you look at this now. We're going to put it up on the screen here.
Very mysterious.
Yeah. Well.
Jeez.
Or just look at the thing we have in the studio, which
solar eclipse.
Solar eclipse. So
2017, trending right now.
Starts at around 1:00, ends around 2:30. If you want to nerd yourself out, get some sort of tinted glass or whatever. I don't know. I'm just saying.
And make sure you get the right ones too.
Yeah, stare at it. Do it. Look into the evil of the eclipse.
Did you know there's a solar eclipse Twitter account that has over 17,000 followers?
Yeah, losers. Losers.
Wow.
You know what? I'm afraid like about 25 of them are like Hamilton Tiger Cats. Because they're playing like they're slightly vision impaired. That's just sad. Coming up, why don't you talk about some of the people that are going to come up in the first week?
Okay.
Yeah.
So on Wednesday, we have a guest author coming in to talk about his new book called Media Whore. It's basically teaching the athlete how to present himself to the media in the most positive light and get the most outside of the sport itself. It's really interesting because we talk about some
and that is the world.
Some athletes get it,
yeah.
And some athletes blow a lot of opportunity. And when you blow opportunities, when you're that powerful in the spoke of social media, you miss out on a lot of money.
Huge cake.
A lot of
huge.
Money. So that's coming out. Grant McCraig from recruits.ca. He's a former NHL scout. He'll join us on Friday. We'll talk about the top 200. I'll also ask him what that Calder race looks like this year in the NHL because it's wide open. We don't have an Austin Matthews or a Patrick Laine or in the past a Connor McDavid and guys like that. There isn't that standout rookie. We'll ask him who he likes entering the season. The following week, there's a great story. Kevin Porter. He's a 42-year-old, I believe he's a firefighter. I'm not sure, but he works in that kind of service department. He's looking to get a sniff at pro hockey at this age. It's an awesome story. The Sun did a front page article on him. He's going to be in studio with us, and we're going to ask him, 42 years old and you want to play pro hockey somewhere in this world, how is it going to work, and why the hell are you doing it?
God bless him.
Yeah, and it's an awesome story.
And he would even have the chance, the way it works right now, to actually represent Canada in the Olympics, correct?
There's a possibility because that door is wide open, but he's going to have some competition as well because there's a lot of Canadians playing overseas. Sean Menard is debuting a film at TIFF called The Carter Effect. It's a story of Vince Carter and him being in Toronto in the early part of, I guess, the late 90s and what that generation of kid watching Carter has kind of turned out today. And I think we're seeing evidence of it throughout the Canadian national program and some of the young superstars and some of these first overall picks that were influenced by Air Canada himself. Also from Cleats and Cleavage.
Mm.
Yes. Ava, I don't have her last name, but she's an Italian bird.
Oh.
She will be joining us. We'll talk some NFL. We'll preview the upcoming NFL season. And as they say, much, much more.
Oh, there's so much more. And by the way, Dave said TIFF. That's the Toronto International Film Festival, not TITS, like someone just said. That's the collection that's underneath Russell's bed.
What?
Yeah.
Did we just become best friends? Yep.
Biggins.
You want to go do karate in the garage? It's time!
Yeah, I guess maybe this is not the most perfect segue, but Jerry Lewis passed away on the weekend at the age of 91. Oh, my. Yeah, George Takei's upset. And a lot of French people. Very sad. France is going to be a national holiday. Once again, thanks for joining us here today. We've got a lot of fun coming up tomorrow. And more Trump talk? No. Maybe we'll just talk to a lot of people who have lost their eyesight because they stared into the magic of the eclipse. Look at it. Oh, be careful. Don't worry. I'll be in a bar. I don't care.